stay connected everywhere you go. Fitchburg is on your phone and your tablet and your laptop and TV. Download the app. It's free. Access Fitchburg. This is your city at your fingertips.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Crosby.
And I'm Nick Boucher. We're your hosts for the program that's all about your city, Talking Fitchburg.
Every weekday, we pull together the news, events, and information you need to stay on top of what's happening in the city of Fitchburg.
Find Talking Fitchburg on cable TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our live stream on the web. Plus, you can find all our headlines and stories on Facebook, YouTube, and our video on demand service. This is your city.
Keep up with Talking Fitchburg and the issues affecting you and your neighbors.
It is 5:30 p.m. on August 17th of 2026. I am calling to order this meeting of the Board of Public Works. First item on the agenda here is roll call. With us tonight we have Board Member Kim Lobdell, Board Member Dave Wilburn, myself, Chair Alder Jetzer, and Board Member Don Gutkowski. And I'm purposely talking slowly because I see Alder Herbst has just walked into the room. That makes all of us.
He had a flat tire on the way.
Full quorum. Okay, so moving on, public appearances for non-agenda items. I see no one in chambers and no one online, so we can move ahead to the approval of the minutes. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I so move and approve the August 3rd meeting minutes.
Second.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Don. Are there any comments? Seeing none, I will call the vote here. All in favor of the approval of the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is unanimous. Next, report from the Director of Public Works, Mr. Tim Volker.
Good evening. A couple general items to start off the report with. A public involvement meeting for the proposed County Trunk Highway MM pedestrian and bicycle underpass project is on Thursday, August 27th, 2026. From 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. at Fitchburg Fire Station 3, which is on 2950 South Sain Road. So here residents will have an opportunity to view the preliminary plans, learn about the proposed project and schedule, ask questions, and provide feedback on the project. This project would create a new pedestrian and bicycle underpass beneath County Trunk Highway MM near Laniello Court, improving trail connectivity and safety. Construction is currently anticipated for summer 2027 for this project. Next general item is Adams Road between Fitchburg Road and Went Road will be closed to all traffic from 7:30 a.m. starting Monday, August 24th. Through approximately 3 p.m. Friday, August 28th for a culvert replacement. So there will be no access through the work area during construction of this project. Next up are a couple project updates this evening. 2026 street resurfacing project. Tower Hill's the only remaining streets left to be paved. All other streets have been paved. And then today, Research Park Drive was striped today and will be open to traffic immediately now or first thing in the morning. And then our 2026 sidewalk replacement project, the contractor commenced construction today, so they started removing some old sidewalk and even started pouring new sidewalk today. We anticipate that project to be completed next month. Our Wayland Road paved shoulder project, we held a pre-construction meeting on August 5th, 2026. And later this week, the contractor is looking to install the traffic control and erosion control for that project. And then our 2026 Belmar and Tower Hill utility improvement project. That's the project where we improved the water main and stormwater up in Belmar, and then Tower Hill was the water main improvements. The paving for that project is under our 2025 ARPA project, so that the streets still need to be paved up in Belmar, and as I mentioned in Tower Hill, that's under our 2026 street resurfacing project. For Belmar, the contractor anticipates paving that next week, and I believe they started paving the parking lot for that project, which was for the apartments along Crescent Road. And then there's some curb and gutter they need to finish up prior to starting the paving next week. And then in Tower Hill, they're working on installing the water services. Next up's our Well 12 project. That's up in Stoner Prairie at the corner of Velt Drive and Wayfair Street. And this project, we opened bids back on August 11th, 2026, and received 6 bids. J.H. Hassinger Incorporated was the low bid at $3,725,045, and the award of that construction contract is on tonight's agenda. And bids for that project ranged from the low bid of $3,725,045 up to $4,295,000. And then lastly, Fitchburg Road reconstruction project, beginning today through November 30th, 2026. MG&E, Alliant Energy, and other utility companies will be relocating private utilities along Fitchburg Road. That's in anticipation for the reconstruction project. And then tomorrow, the pre-construction meeting for the tree clearing will be held, and Homer Tree Service is the contractor for the tree removal, and they're anticipating to start that work later this week. With that, does anyone have any questions?
Dave?
Is the sequence we'd have to remove the trees first, then they'd relocate the utilities?
There are areas where they are able to start without the tree clearing, so they did start in those areas today. And then Homer Tree Service anticipates being complete with tree removal within a week or two, so they should be finished by the time the utility companies hit those areas.
And a second question, do you have an estimate how deep do you anticipate the well, that we'll be drilling? How far will be cased, or how deep we'll drill it?
Yes, the well is drilled already.
Oh,
so this is for the actual well house.
$3 million for the well house?
Yes, it did include bathrooms, a generator. There's also a pressure release valve modifications. Well number 7, we had to do modifications to. But the depth of the well that was drilled was 1,033 feet deep, okay. And I believe it's cased to 500 or 600 feet.
Okay. Is it pressure relief from the tower? If we'd have too much head, or is it?
And I believe that valve's off East Sherrill Drive, Sherrill Drive.
The Fitchburg Road on that Madison Gas and Electric, are they going to be just relocating, or are there going to be a lot of one-lane traffic or anything like that?
Yeah, there will be some lane closures associated with that work in certain areas, but all the work is within the right-of-way or within easements obtained for that project.
However, my question is, there's going to be some areas that are going to get shut down on us, because my whole route runs through that.
Yeah, you'll still be able to get through. There may be a lane closure depending on where they need to close the lane.
Okay. So
but you'll still be able to get through.
Right, but I could be stalled sometimes for a length of
Correct.
time. Okay.
Delayed slightly.
Okay, well, I'm going to go back to the bus barn and tell them that they're going to have to tell those people that we're going to have to pick them up a little earlier, or never make it to the second B route. That's all.
Just want to make sure I don't
Yeah,
have a problem.
I mean, the delay shouldn't be that long
Yeah,
for a
but
lane
you don't know
closure.
how tight the Verona school system sets that timage up. Thank you.
Tim, question, it's a funding question. On the very first project you listed, the bike pedestrian underpass at Double M.
Yes.
We got a grant for that. I don't know if it was 80-20 or 90-10. The 20% or the 10%, is that coming from your funding source or what the developer puts aside for like the parks and stuff?
That would be coming from the city's funding source. No developer funding was provided for that project.
Okay.
Go ahead, Kim.
What can you tell us about what the improvements are that they're doing on Schumann right now? I saw in the Alder's newsletter that they're going to be putting out some flexible tube pipes and changing a crossing. What do you know about that, and what's it going to solve? And are the flexible tube pipes, is that a permanent thing, and is it going to last through the winter, or?
So it's where the bike trail coming
where one
from.
comes in, one comes
exactly.
in, and there's an area
so
between
on
the
the
two.
south side of Schumann, there's some flexible pipes that Ross has been working on, flexible delineators, traffic delineators that are going to be installed to direct kind of bike and pedestrian traffic along the south side of that road, along with associated striping and signage to better protect and make drivers aware of the pedestrians and bicyclists that need to cross there. So it's going to remain up permanently. I think a couple of the delineator posts need to be removed for snow removal purposes, kind of on the end, so that when the pickup truck that we use to plow the path can make that 90-degree turn onto Schumann from the path.
Okay, so you're going to have a pickup truck do the area from between the curb and those delineator posts?
Yes, or a tool cat potentially could be used, and obviously that would have to be done after the snow plows come through, because if the tool cat or the pickup truck do that area first, and a snow plow comes through, you're just redoing it after that. So there'll be some coordination between Parks does our bike paths and streets, which they coordinate all the time during a snow event.
I'd be sort of surprised to see how close the actual plow gets to those when it's doing the street portion of it. So this was in response to a resident saying that area is not safe. What kind of evaluation was made to be able to come up with this?
It was from the neighborhood that came up and I guess brought the problem forward to the city, and then Ross had looked into it and evaluated it. We met with the residents, the alders, and kind of went through this. We wanted to. It's a temporary solution to see if, maybe potentially something more permanent gets put in place prior to, doing anything permanent. We wanted to make sure that, hey, this is something that would work. Let's maybe find something more permanent barrier besides a plastic delineator.
And the problem was pedestrian safety?
Correct. Yeah, a lot of times the bikes would shoot out, from the path, not stop, or the pedestrians would walk along the side of the road because there is no sidewalk there, and the city has the ordinance that we can't put it in the sidewalk unless 75% of the houses along that route want it. So we wanted to provide just additional safety because of that weird connection with those two paths not being, across from each other.
Would you still even need 75% if you're only going to do a sidewalk or a path between those two paths, or would it just have to be those?
It would be that one property owner,
Okay.
and I know there's a lot of vegetation, and that property owner was in conversation with Ross, I believe, as part of the public involvement here. I don't think that was ever approved to put in a path, or was some hesitation at the time. So
I thought Ross said at the TTC meeting that both property owners on the north and south side of Schuman were okay with a sidewalk, but to connect the paths. But if you go back and watch that meeting,
Okay,
you
I
can
can
find
do
out
that.
for sure what he said.
It seems to me
Okay.
like that would be a better option if they were
Correct, but
agreeable.
it's also an option that requires a lot more time and money.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah.
And that's why I was asking, was this a temporary or permanent, or did we think it was going to last through the winter? Because
Yeah, and this is a temporary, as I mentioned, so a permanent, if the property owners either on the north or south side are for it, then the question is the funding.
Yeah.
Because the city would have to come up with
Right.
that funding to connect it, so.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Tim, do the street resurfacing contractor have is it their responsibility to haul away the gravel and the leftover asphalt? Petersburg Circle, they did a great job paving it, but the pile of rubble's been concrete, and asphalt and gravel's been laying on the street for quite a while now, and residents are asking me when they're going to pick it up.
Yeah, that is the contractor's responsibility. I can speak to Zach tomorrow, and he can mention that to the contractor to pick up and get cleaned up. But yeah, that's something we're not going to accept until it is cleaned up and restored. That's the hard part, is once the paving's over, to get them to clean up. And so, but we can definitely contact them and reach out and pry them to.
I'd appreciate, the neighbors have complained, they thank you for the smooth circle now, but a couple of them have said, well, we almost weren't paying attention, making our right turn, and almost ran into it coming
Okay.
out.
Tim, not the pylon for that Schuman one, and hopefully Ross is looking at that for a permanent fix. I understand it's going to cost money. You just got safety money for a fix for pedestrian and crossing, so hopefully you can get it there too. He might want to consider, I know it's not ideal, but do an angle type crossing. Then you're not impacting the residents right there and making them pay for a sidewalk or a recreational trail across there. So you might want to look at that. It comes then all out of the city coffers to do it, but hopefully then you get that 80-20 and it's not quite as much. The other thing in with that, I got thinking about it, because you have Osmondson, which is the connector for that, in the works for signals somewhere down the road. I'm not sure you're going to have the generations for your warrants when I think what's happening, because I live right over in that area, is people are avoiding that left-hand turn at Osmondson and McKee. So they're going up Schuman for it, so then they can make a right turn, and then it's a signalized intersection right there. So I'm kind of wondering if somewhere in your other studies, an OD study or something, is a mix. It's not the people living right on Schuman that are using that and might be a concern and cause for the safety. It's the people going, and more than likely it's drivers like me that don't want to do that left turn on McKee because you don't have the vision to go look at over that crest of the hill. So I'm just wondering if you want to look at it in combination, because Pembroke, where I'm at, was part of a safety concern as well, and you did some minor fixes for that. I'm just thinking the traffic in that area is finding their way to go through that, because they're either trying to avoid McKee or Seminole. I'm not sure what exactly. So, and if anything else, maybe it helps with your signal warrants in the future. So,
Do you know what year that those are in the capital improvement plan? I could have looked it up. But
I think it was 5 or 6 years was Richardson or Osmondson and Lacey, and then McKee and Osmondson was 9 or 10 years later.
Oh, wow.
So.
That is quite a ways out.
Yeah.
Because that is sort of a difficult left turn, coming up Osmondson and turning left onto McKee. I could see where people would want to go to Seminole and get the signal. Plus, it gets backed up, as well as some visibility issues. The backup, the queue would, encourage people to go to the signal and get through there. So.
Okay, no more questions. All right, we can move on to our action items. Looking for a motion to approve Resolution R-16126, approving a First Amendment to the Agreement for Subdivision Improvements in the Plat of Jamestown Quarry.
I'll move approval of Resolution R-161-26.
Second.
Approval by Kim and second by Don. Thank you. Tim, walk us through this.
Back on January 28th, 2025, Winga Real Estate LLC and the city of Fitchburg entered into a contract for subdivision improvements in the plat of Jamestown Quarry. This agreement required all public improvements to be installed prior to occupancy of lots 1 through 4. Due to long approval and material lead times, the overhead signage on McKee Road will not be installed until late 2026. To accommodate occupancy schedules for lots 1 through 4, an amendment is needed to allow for installation of the McKee overhead signage after occupancy. So we're looking for council to approve the First Amendment to the Agreement for Subdivision Improvements in the Plat of Jamestown Quarry.
What overhead signage are we talking about? On McKee that says 2 through lanes, a right lane, a left lane, or what exactly? And how are you going to make that known? I mean, are you going to do signs on the side until you get overhead signage, or?
So this is the overhead signage on McKee Road if you're heading in the eastbound direction.
Okay.
And this is for the 2 eastbound left turn lanes to head north onto Fitchrona Road.
Okay.
So that the county had required these signs, and that the signage would note that the inner left turn lane is for Jamestown Way. So because when you head north on Fitchrona, there's the merge. So we wanted to get the Jamestown Way people, which is to go into McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, Chase Bank,
Yep.
get them in that lane so you don't have the merge and the weaving going on. And then the outer left turn lane is for Fitchrona Road.
Okay.
So if you want to head north
Keep
on
going,
Fitchrona.
yeah. Okay.
So we don't think it is an issue just because of it's not built out yet. Corey Frank is still building the multifamily. This signage would be in prior to that, and then also the middle lot hasn't been developed yet between Corey Frank's and the lots 1 through 4. So we don't anticipate the merge being an issue. If it is, we can get signs up there.
Okay.
If it does become problematic.
Do they have an anticipated date when the materials and that'll be in? You say late this year, but is that December? Is that October? Is that?
Yeah, it would be December. I believe the deadline would be December 1st, 2026.
And when do you anticipate these lots wanting to gain occupancy?
So McDonald's, I believe, is the first one to gain occupancy, and that's within the next couple weeks.
Oh.
And then I believe Chick-fil-A would be after that, and Chase Bank.
Okay, so September, probably the month of September, beginning of October, so 2 months maybe without it.
Yeah, Corey Frank has one unit that's done, what'd you say, at 80% occupancy right now?
Yeah, it's almost full. I think it's 98% full.
Because those would be the ones going on north on Fitchrona, and they have a separate, different driveway than the Jamestown one.
Tim, outside of they're waiting on steel, and I'm not sure what kind of overhead they're putting in. Is it one of those trombone arms or completely a...
Yeah, I believe it's a trombone arm.
Okay. Did they put at least the bases in?
So there's a tube in there right now. I don't believe that the base has been poured, that they plan on pouring that, I believe, coming up here shortly. Maybe next couple weeks or into September. I don't believe that.
There were 2 deadlines in there, one for pouring the foundation, which was September 30th, and then for having the signs December 1st.
Yeah.
Any particular problems with waiting till at least the bases are up? To see if you got problems with installation or...
Well, yeah, because then McDonald's wouldn't have occupancy or Chick-fil-A.
I understand they'll have
Yeah.
concerns, but wouldn't we want to at least make sure we got the bases in so
Well,
we don't have
that's
any
why we put
right-of-way
the-
concerns or encroachment concerns in case something doesn't set right?
That's why we poured the tube in there. So it's all drilled with the tube, and they just pour it in there. It's not going to cause any issues with the base or the asphalt. So that's why we purposely did that. Like we won't have to excavate for the foundation.
Sure, they got.
So there's a casing already in there for us to pour. We don't have to do any excavation. Any issues with the base or the asphalt would be addressed by that.
It won't surface till the wind load hits it, your signs, and it wiggles it, but okay.
I mean, there still is a warranty on this.
I know, I'm just concerned
And
more about the
once
safety of the drivers and the pedestrians and the bikers than
if the
them
wind
selling more
blows too,
hamburgers
you would
faster.
that would have been an issue, even if you did issue it with occupancy. That's why we have a 14-month warranty on this.
I just think it's a situation that, the city's going to have to monitor once it opens without the signs, just to, make sure there aren't any side swipes and weaving problems and that kind of thing, or people getting in the wrong lane and wanting to go, getting in the outside one and then wanting to go to McDonald's and crossing in front of someone, so. But the only thing you can do is monitor it, I guess, and if it is, then you put on some signs just on posts on the side of the road until you can get the overhead signage. In the contract, you thought they were gonna have the overhead signage, so they were sort of whatever, promised, guaranteed, whatever, or that they were gonna have occupancy at the time frame that they are, or is there occupancy earlier than what you thought it was going to be?
Occupancy was actually later than what we thought, and the signage turned out to be even later than that.
Okay.
So the foundation is the deadline September 30th, and then the signage would be December 1st.
Tim, there's, in the agreement here, it's talking about both signage and pavement marking. There's nothing that's preventing them from completing the pavement marking, right?
I don't believe so.
And is there outstanding pavement marking to be done?
So the acceptance of the improvements is up next, but I believe the pavement marking, there are no issues with that. Yeah.
And dash lines through the intersection and everything?
I don't know if it called for the dash line. I would have to look at the plans. Yeah.
So in instances where we've got two left turn lanes, we don't always put a dash line between them?
It depends on the intersection. Most of the time, yes. I can pull up the plans. Let me just see. Doesn't look like there are on the striping plan. And that, so McKee is a county road, so they would have been the ones to have reviewed and, depending on their requirements. Yeah, I'm not seeing it on the plans.
Fitchburg is striped though, right? To delineate the two lanes?
Yes.
I guess I got to ask this question, Tim, because that's what's weighing most heavily on me. These are roadway signs. They're not advertising signs. You're not following MUTCD till they're up. And maybe it's not a question for you. It's more for the city attorney. Is there a liability that the board or the city takes by approving that and there's an accident there and they want to sue someone for not having adequate signage up?
I don't think so. They're more guidance signs than safety signs.
Well, they're not following the MUTCD, and a lawyer is going to jump on that quick to say you're not following the MUTC, which is standard guidelines, and now you're saying maybe the county's liable because they must have approved this too. So,
what's the MUTC guidelines regarding the signs?
You said it's overhead signing, telling them where to turn, left turn, advance warning signs.
No, these are just the guidance to when you're on the inner lane, you want to be on the inner left turn lane for Jamestown Way, and then the outer left turn lane if you're heading north on Fitchburg. There's no warning signs.
Yeah, so this is just Jamestown Way sign and Fitchburg Road sign, you're saying? They're not turn lane signs.
Section 1016 says subdivider shall provide and install street and crosswalk signage and markings in accordance with the MUTCD. Is that what you're getting at?
Yep. Yeah. Yep. I thought they were turn arrow signs and stuff going on there, but it's the way you're describing it, one says Jamestown Way and the other says Fitchburg Road on a trombone, you said. Okay, that's interesting.
So maybe in accordance with the MUTCD, that's more pavement markings perhaps? And the signs the overhead signs we're talking about are more wayfinding, right?
Correct.
Yeah, someone's still going to say, I couldn't see Jamestown Way, so I made a quick right turn or a left turn into a car because I was looking for it. So, anyhow, Tim assures there's no liability on our part.
And there, Kim, there is, prior to the left turn lanes, there is a sign to state that the far left lanes for Jamestown Way, so at a minimum, those would be up, which will help.
Yeah. People that are paying attention.
Correct.
If you just go down the hill, Don, we have a state designed wonderful intersection at McKee Road and 151, and it's always littered with broken glass and plastic and accidents there. It's designed to the utmost safety, and people are still banging into each other there.
So you're saying this is a risky area then?
That's
what you just told me.
I think, and you'll have to monitor how it goes too, but the dotted lines help a lot when you have two left turns.
Yeah.
Like at going northbound on Fish Hatchery and turning left on McKee, those going around, I see people doing it wrong all the time. Somebody on the outside lane then wants to turn into Walgreens, and they go around the corner and they go right in, unaware of the fact that but that's drivers, and you have to be observant all the time. But I do think the dash lines help a lot to keep people geared towards where they want to go. So that may be something that might have to be added later. if it's not in.
And that's something we can bring up to the county.
Yeah.
We're still coordinating with them on the project, and that's something I'll ask Ross or Tracy to see if that has come up in discussion. If not, if that's something we can add.
It seems like a low-cost, quick thing to do that will only improve safety.
Agree.
Yeah, I agree, Bill.
Anything further on this one? I will call the vote. All in favor of resolution R16126 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nay.
It's 4-1. Moving on. Who will move approval of resolution R16226 accepting subdivision improvements for phase 2 in the plat of Jamestown Quarry?
I'll move approval resolution R16226.
Thank you, Dave.
I'll second it.
Thank you, other Dave. Tim, this is related to the one we've just been talking about.
That is correct. So back on January 28th, 2025, the subdivision improvement agreement for the plat was executed between Wingra Real Estate LLC and and the city of Fitchburg. So we have done a preliminary inspection, and there's still some minor cleanup site items that need to be done for restoration. And then also we're waiting on a couple lien waivers from the contractor for their subcontractors. And then also some inspection fees to be paid. So they're looking for occupancy where we'd need to get this approved next week, Tuesday's council meeting. So if we don't have those items at next week's council meeting, we'd look to postpone this to the following council meeting. So tonight, we're looking to pass this even with the few remaining items.
Go before council whether to postpone
Will do.
this one. Okay. I've gone through there a lot. It's relatively minor things.
Other than lien waivers, which
Yeah.
aren't relatively minor.
Yeah, you got me there, Kim. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. As far as the physical stuff that I can see.
Any other questions on this one? All right. All those in favor of resolution R16226 signify by saying aye.
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 It is unanimous. Moving on to item C. Need a motion to approve resolution R17626 approving assignment and assumption of subdivision improvement agreement for the plat of Jamestown Quarry.
I'll move approval R17626.
I'll second.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Kim. Tim, who's selling what to whom and what's being sold?
So Fitchburg Partners LLC has purchased a portion of the plat associated with the Jamestown Quarry from Wingra Real Estate LLC, and Wingra is requesting the city approval for an assignment and assumptions agreement for the public improvements. So they're looking to assign the public improvements to Fitchburg Partners LLC. So we're looking for council to approve the attached assignment and assumptions for the agreement for subdivision improvements in the plat of Jamestown Quarry.
All of the improvements for the whole plat?
Correct. So even including the ones that we are looking for the previous resolution that we just talked about. So it'd be all those improvements, and then also the future turn lanes on Fitch Rona once kind of the parcel between Corey Frank's building that he's currently building, and then the 4 parcels to the south. So there's some turn lane improvements needed for that if that gets developed.
Is the Fitchburg Partners acceptable to all of this?
Yes.
And if we approve this, the assignment and the minor things or the lien waivers are not ready by council and you don't approve it at council, is Fitchburg Partners now responsible for getting those rather than the other ones because we've done the assignment? Or is there some confusion with the timing on this?
So Fitchburg Partners is the one we are working with on getting the lien waivers already.
So you're already working with them even though the Jamestown Quarry
Correct.
Partners or whatever are?
Yeah, it was Wingra that recently just
Wingra,
wanted
yeah.
to assign everything to Fitchburg Partners LLC.
And you've been working with Fitchburg Partners LLC throughout this process already?
Correct.
So they're all both agreeable to it?
Both are agreeable to it.
All right. Thanks.
Do we have any concern with Fitchburg Partners? They're taking all the liability on. So if they're not a fly-by-night, I assume, so.
No, and they're the ones performing the work right now on McKee Road and Fitch-Rona.
So we have no concerns that they may just bolt and leave and.
No concerns. We have the security from them and letter of credit.
So purchaser, seller, and city are all okay with this.
Correct.
All right. Anything else? All right, we'll call the vote. All in favor of Resolution R17626 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is unanimous. Moving on to 7D, looking for a motion to approve Resolution R15526 approving an increase in stormwater utility rates.
I'll move approval of Resolution R155-26.
Second.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Don. Tim, what's the history on this?
So material and labor costs associated with maintenance of the existing stormwater infrastructure and construction of new stormwater infrastructure continue to increase with inflation. So staff has completed an analysis of past and projected future stormwater utility revenues. And staff is recommending a citywide stormwater utility rate increase of 5%. So we're looking for council to authorize a 5% increase in the stormwater utility rates across all customers. And then this rate increase would become effective January 1st, 2027 for the 2027 budget.
Tim, with our water rates, our water and sewer rates are regulated by the PSC, or they have to have approval. We don't have the same thing for stormwater.
Correct. There's no PSC for stormwater.
Okay.
And, as part of the staff analysis too, Ben had looked at adjacent communities and what they charge to make sure we're in line with that. And we are in line with adjacent communities for what they charge.
You mentioned, the cost for anything new though is paid by the new infrastructure that we have to put in for a subdivision. That's paid by the project. That's
correct.
We'd have future maintenance costs on it, but if it is owned by the city.
Correct. And then kind of like projects would be, like Schumann Drive or projects where we are experiencing localized flooding that we want to improve.
Understood.
And I guess I'll just note too that for rural and urban single-family homes, it represents an annual increase of $3.12 and $5.32 respectively.
And I don't think anybody can argue with costs going up, so.
And at a recent council meeting, I think we were shown, maybe for the CIP, we were shown some graphs that, our water utility has a bit of cushion between revenue and expenses, but our stormwater and sanitary are razor thin.
Yeah, and what we'll be doing too is, we're going to be looking at rates annually going forward just to avoid the large increases in a single year. I think Ben had looked back into it, and back on July 1st, 2021, the city had proposed or enacted a rate increase of 38% in stormwater, just because it wasn't doing the annual rate increases. So by kind of keeping with these smaller annual increases, you avoid that big lump one.
And I believe we brought this up at the Resource Conservation Commission a few months back as well, that it was time to do an adjustment of the rates. Any other discussion? I will call the vote. All in favor of Resolution R-15526, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is unanimous. Moving on to our next resolution here, I'm looking for a motion to approve Resolution R-15226, authorizing acceptance of contract with Purple Cow Organics LLC for brush and yard waste processing services for 2027 to 2029.
I'll move approval of Resolution R-152-26.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Dave. Tim, tell us what's going on here.
So the city provides curbside brush and yard waste pickup services for 1 through 4 unit dwellings. This is provided through the Pelletieri contract. And Purple Cow Organics LLC is a local company that can accept Fitchburg's quantity of these materials and process it into compost for local sale. So we're looking for council to approve award of the 2027 to 2029 brush and yard waste processing contract to Purple Cow Organics LLC for $83,454.30. So the $83,000 is for all 3 years total. The first year, which is 2027, would be for $27,000. And then it's a 3% increase for 2028, and then another 3% increase for 2029.
What are we currently paying?
So we are currently paying, let me pull that up. $24,091, $24,091.92.
3,000, so a little over 10, 11, 12% increase from 26 to 27.
Correct.
And did the city only go to Purple Cow Organics? This isn't something that was bid out, or?
This was not bid out. It's a sole source procurement due to them being the only local person that would accept our material for compost. And the city has been utilizing them since 2012 for these services.
Is this where the mulch at the recycling site comes from?
No, the mulch we do, and then basically that material is what we pick up from the multifamily areas in the city, and then anything that gets dropped off at the public works facility. So we just have enough room and resources to handle that material ourselves. We don't have enough room for everything Pelletieri picks up the 14 times throughout the year. So Pelletieri then picks it up and hauls it to Purple Cow for us.
So Purple Cow, they process it at their facility?
Correct.
Okay.
And then it comes back into the compost bin at the drop-off site, right?
Now Purple Cow keeps it and utilizes it.
Okay.
What we're looking at doing is purchasing a new screener just to get better compost, with smaller material. We recently purchased an excavator, and we're waiting to purchase that piece of equipment to find out what attachment for screening we can use. So, within the next year, we're looking to have some better material come out of our facility that would be better for the residents.
So both the mulch and the compost at the drop-off site are taken care of by the city?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got those big piles of wood chips, and at the heart of that, it will inevitably turn into compost, and so that's...
Yeah, so the grinding of the material, we contract that out. We'll do that 2 or 3 times a year, depending on how much material we get. So we'll hire a company to come in and do that for a day or two, 2 or 3 times a year, and then the composting we do ourselves.
And is the cost of the Purple Cow included in the trash pickup line item on the property tax bill?
Yes, that is correct. So
Okay.
it's included in the budget.
So we recently saw there's a proposal to increase that by like 1.7% or whatever. That's taking this into consideration.
Correct.
Do we ever run out of the compost that you have at the recycling center or the chips? I mean, is what the city, I guess my question is what the city produces and leaves there for the residents, is that adequate so that we don't even really need the stuff the Purple Cow is doing?
Yeah, it's more than adequate. We actually have excess material where we can't get rid of it. So we'll, fortunately, we have some farmers that will take whatever we have. We just have to haul it out there. But that's a reason for the screening, is to get better material for the residents to take. Because right now, I think that's kind of holding a lot of people back, just the quality of it. So if we get a better screener, the quality increases, and I think you're going to have more demand from the residents that will take it then. So
actually, Purple Cow is doing us a favor by not bringing it back here, because we don't need it anyway. We just have to find a way to get rid of it.
Correct.
Otherwise. Okay, thank you.
For any people watching, at home, you can screen it yourself, just like your compost. If you have a screen like I do, that's when I get it, I screen it first, and it works pretty well. So I guess I'm saying the residents don't not use it because your concern is not high enough quality. There's a way to get really good compost out of there.
Tim, do we check the compost and/or wood chips for invasives and like jumping worms is a big concern?
Nope.
I would have to check with Ben with that. I don't believe so.
Alderherp said it was high quality, but
Alders are what I tell people when I'm there. I say don't take anything off the bottom where it's wet, because if there's jumping worms, that's where you'd find it. But then I'll tell them, if you are concerned, spread it on a tarp when you get home first. Spread it thin, and if they're there, you'll see them. So I caution people to do those 2 things. Don't take it off the bottom, and like I say, spread it out and look at it at home.
Tim, we don't have the capacity, I understand that, but long range, is it cheaper if you could staff up and gear and do all this? Or is Purple Cow doing it just as competitively as what you produce mulch for?
I think it's definitely competitively. It's something we could look into to maybe do in-house, but that's right now. We have 9 people on streets that kind of get split up between streets, refuge recycling, stormwater projects. So it's a lot. Definitely would need more people to help out, whether the additional wages are probably going to be higher than what we're paying Purple Cow right now, and Pelletary to take it.
Yeah, because if you look, like for Purple Cow, loaded costs, that's like a quarter of a person.
Yeah, exactly.
Good deal. Yeah, can't beat it.
any other questions on this one? I will call the vote. All in favor of Resolution R-15226 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Nope, it is unanimous. All right, it's my pleasure to inform the board that we are 83% of the way through the action items, so there are only 1,014 pages remaining.
Debbie Downer.
Looking for a motion to approve Resolution R-17126, acceptance of the well facility number 12 bids.
I'll move approval of Resolution R-171-26.
Thank you, Kim.
Second.
Oh, we'll give it to Don. Okay. Tim, spare us all the agony of 1,014 pages.
The 2018 Water Systems Master Plan recommended the installation of a new high-capacity well in order to maintain adequate water service. The Public Works Department has prepared construction plans and specifications and obtained competitive bids. The project was advertised by legal notice in the Wisconsin State Journal back on July 22nd, 2026 and July 29th, 2026, as well as posted on questcdn.com. J.H. Hassinger's Incorporated's low bid of $3,725,045 was found to be in compliance with the bid specifications. There is available funding and there is sufficient impact fees collected currently and in the near future to further support this one-time project. So we're looking for council to approve the award of well facility number 12 to J.H. Hassinger Incorporated in the amount of $3,911,297.25. And that includes a 5% contingency. So a couple items too with this resolution. One, it is a direct referral. We're looking to get this started just so we can get enclosed prior to winter and start working, get this project up and running. And then secondly, there is a budget amendment that is needed. It's a 2/3 budget amendment, and that's for the $147,000 in park fees. So as part of this well facility number 12, there are restrooms going in because of the park adjacent to it. And Misty is going to make that amendment at Finance Committee next week. I just wanted to bring it to your attention tonight that that amendment will be made at next week's Finance Committee meeting and then council following that.
And that is for parks to contribute some funds because of the fact that the restrooms would be open to the public adjacent to a park area there.
That is correct. So the restrooms will be available to the public, and then park improvement fees will be utilized as the funding source for that portion of the well.
Good.
Tim, don't think badly of me because I didn't read all 1,000 pages. How close we were to the engineer's estimate? And second, do we have the cost included in here for the electric service extension and natural gas service extension? Is that in this bid?
No, typically MG&E has additional fees for that. So once we execute the agreement with them, will be in addition to what you see here. And then as far as the cost compared to our engineer's estimate, we were under the engineer's estimate, but very close. I can get you the estimate number.
$5,000, it says right in the first
Yeah,
one.
okay.
3725 and 3730. So $5,000 basically, very close.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tim, we've never used this company. The references were other communities. I assume we checked into it. I'm more concerned with cost overruns, or have those other communities experienced that with this contractor?
No, and that's one of the questions we do ask. So we followed up with their references, and then also the engineer of record, which is Strand Engineering. They've worked with this contractor on another well project too, I believe for Wanakee, and they didn't have any issues with them.
Tim, could you walk us through, there's 10 line items. The first one is well number 12, facility construction and site improvements. And then there's 9 additional line items on there. How do those, how closely related to the well 12 facility are they? For instance, number 3 says well 7 modifications.
So well 7 modifications, we're doing some piping modifications to well 7 as part of this work. So once well 12's up and running, we're going to be switching the zones around for the city. So these piping modifications are needed in order to do that at well 7. And
No,
then,
just to split up who's being served by which well.
Correct.
Yeah.
So once the new tower and this well get put in place, we'll be changing the zones for the city. And then, as I mentioned before, the Swan Creek pressure reducing valve station, there's some modifications, and that also plays into the zone, as well as the SCADA upgrades that are required.
I'm curious, there were a lot of cash allowances in there. I'm surprised they're not the same number across all the bidders. That wasn't divulged, what we're getting for cash back for whatever road and utility trenches and fuel costs?
Correct.
We didn't divulge that to the bidders to say there's going to be a cash back we're getting.
I think all the lump sum ones were the same. It's just the 2 that were bid by cubic yard
Yes, that's true.
that were different.
Yep.
I guess I'll also point out that the bids were all within 7.5% of 4 million. So I think that's, we didn't see, like, sometimes we see bids that are off by a factor of 2. And these were all fairly close. So the 5% contingency, I guess, doesn't scare me on this project as much as it might on something else where the bids were all over the place.
Tim, I assume it's been a while since I looked at this, the groundwater kind of draw map for the area. I assume we took a good look at this, that this is not too close to another well that we have in the city that those, I know it's not exact model, but I assume we did that diligence.
Yeah, as we do well placements, you want to place them so that the withdrawal impacts don't impact other existing wells. So that's why the site was specifically picked to minimize those impacts.
Any additional questions? Okay, I'll call the vote. All in favor of Resolution R-17126, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is unanimous. Moving on to announcements. Our next Board of Public Works meeting would normally have been scheduled for September 7th, but that is Labor Day. So we need to find an alternate date, and the obvious one is 2 weeks from today, which would be Monday, August 31st. How does the board feel about that date?
I'll be out of town, Bill, so we got to check, make sure.
I am also gone, not available, and cannot call in.
Are you unavailable? Are you?
I could call
You could
in
call
from Lake of the Woods. I can call in if you need me to.
Lake of the Woods sounds like a place with steady internet service.
Yeah, it's been all right. Yeah, I know. I've called in from meetings there many times.
If there are, otherwise,
can't.
I'm open to additional dates too from the board if we want to. If August 31st doesn't work,
It seems like a good date. I can call in.
okay, Tuesday and Wednesday that week would work as well.
Yeah, I'm gone.
I'm
still
gone the
be out
whole
of
week.
town.
Yeah, I'm not back until Friday, so.
I'll call in, Bill.
Okay, so the 31st then?
Yep.
All right, make it so, August 31st. I guess the only other additional announcements, I'll just mention that the The Brewers mural was unveiled today. There was quite a showing there. There must have been at least 100 people milling around, including Barrel Man and Bernie the Brewer. All right. And you can head over to McKee Farms Park right after this meeting for the final concert at McKee for the summer.
Oh, that's right, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Yeah, this one is actually happening. The weather is nice today. Any other announcements? Otherwise, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move adjournment.
I second it.
Thank you, Daves. I will just call the vote here. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned at 6:35 p.m.